Sometime in the distant past, one of my patrons, Normac Cameron, said, "Hello Tig, I have been enjoying your new videos regarding economics. I am majoring in economics in college, and I actually prefer the economics videos over military strategy videos. I like both though. Anyway, here is my question. Can you give me a list of economic related books, documents and other such things that you have read or are currently reading? I really want to be well versed in all forms of economics, free market, socialist, even mercantilism, and I feel that whatever you can recommend to me will make a fine addition to my collection. Keep up the good work, don't stick to tanks." You've probably already graduated by this point, but I hope to catch others who are going to university. So, I can't list every economic book I've ever read because I can't remember half the ones I read in college or university, plus it would take forever and not all of them were great. Also, socialism is an ideology that talks about economics, but it's not economics in and of itself, which is why it always results in disaster. So feel free to read the Communist Manifesto or Das Kapital if you like, and I'm sure your economic teachers will get you to read Keynes' The Economic Consequences of the Peace, which is basically fiction, and The General Theory of Employment, Interest and Money, which they don't normally get you to read. Most Keynesians haven't actually read it. But if you do, you should also read Hayek's article Response to Keynes' A Treatise on Money, as it exposes Keynes' ignorance on economic matters. He was, in fact, friends with the Fabian socialists. Hayek's article is a positive thrill to read. Hayek relentlessly scrutinizes and exposes the weak and patchwork structure of Keynes' theoretical arguments and then dismantles it brick by brick, leaving nothing standing. Keynes' reaction reveals just how deeply Hayek's review cut, as well as Keynes' cavalier attitude towards intellectual pursuits. As Senholz points out in his book Age of Inflation, Keynes' A Treatise on Money and his General Theory of Employment, Interest and Money are at odds with each other, probably because of Hayek's criticism. Keynes famously said that we all have animal spirits, which is a slipping of his anti-Semitic mask. It reveals that he was an idealist who hated materialism and believed that humans, specifically the Jews, were animals, much like the National Socialists think. He even called Einstein a Jew boy and said that Germany was under the ugly thumb of its impure Jews, who he said had sublimated immorality into compound interest. And he's getting these ideas from the Nazis, whom he liked. He was influenced by the Nazi economists. But ultimately we can trace his idealism and anti-materialism all the way back to the pre-Socratics and even Helena Blavatsky, who said we had animal souls. Empedocles firmly believed all men and animals to possess two souls, and in Aristotle we find that he calls one the reasoning soul, nous, and the other the animal soul, soul psyche. According to these philosophers, the reasoning soul comes from within, the universal soul, and the other from without. And in answer to mercantilism, if every individual were forced to grow his own food, sew his own clothes, and build his own house, it would certainly create employment. People would be working 15-hour days just to survive. Yet obviously individuals are much better off by having the option to specialise in one occupation, producing far more than they need personally, and trading the surplus with others who are doing the same in their own areas of expertise. The same principle holds for nations. When different countries specialise in their areas of comparative advantage and then trade surplus production with each other, it raises standards of living across the board. It was particularly tragic that the nations of the world decided to sabotage this wonderful cooperation in the midst of the worst economic downturn in modern history. Of course, he's referring to the Great Depression from 1929 onwards. So there is Keynesian, mercantilist and other socialist material out there, so feel free to read them, but I'm not going to recommend them, nor will I recommend Adam Smith, who, is massively out of date. What I will recommend is Economics in One Lesson by Henry Hazlitt, or Basic Economics by Thomas Sowell, and anything by Thomas Sowell to be fair. Then there's America's Great Depression by Murray Rothbard, Socialism by Mises, Omnipotent Government by Mises, The Myth of the Robber Barons by Folsom, and even something like Capitalism and the Historians by Hayek. It depends what you're looking into. If you were looking for statistics on British economics, for example, then British Economic Growth 1688 to 1959 by Dean and Cole might be up your alley. I don't think I've mentioned this one before. Speaking of alleys, I have said about Gott's Alleys, Hitler's Beneficiaries, which covers the National Socialist economy during the 30s and 40s. In my opinion, our current world economy is shaped like the Axis European economy during the Second World War, which is what Keynes based his Bretton Woods model off, which is why it's slowly imploding. And there's more besides this. There's Adam Tooze's stuff, although I think that's problematic. And there's stuff on Lend-Lease in specific countries. There's The Vampire Economy by Gunter Ryman. But again, these are country-specific and moving more towards history than economics. For more personal economics, I enjoyed The Guide to Investing in Gold and Silver by Mike Maloney, and more obscure is a book by another YouTuber called Gregory Mannarino, A Not-So-Random Walk on Wall Street, where he, a stock trader, talks about how to make money from the corrupt central bank-led system we're currently in. I've given you a bunch of books there, and so I'm sure there's a few you haven't read, so I'm going to leave it there. Thanks for watching. Sorry for not answering your question sooner. Bye for now.